Now, we are starting with kingdoms of the living organisms. When we talk about kingdoms of the living organisms, first of all, we classified into only plantae and animalia. But then further classification, the studies moved it further for the five kingdom classification, which means Robert Whittaker, Robert Whittaker he raised the four kingdom classification to five kingdom classification. He gave us the five kingdom classification of organisms, according to which we first say it's the kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera, which includes all the prokaryotes, cyanobacteria, prokaryotic bacteria, cyanobacteria, actinomycetes, archaebacteria. So these are kingdom Monera. Then is kingdom Protista. Number 2, which includes all the unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Okay, like unicellular alga, molds, protozoans. Here in Monera, we basically say they include the prokaryotic bacteria. Okay, then third we move to kingdom fungi. In third kingdom, all the fungi are basically included. Then kingdom plantae. Plantae, where the multicellular green plants are included. Multicellular green plants. Okay, and finally we move to the fifth kingdom, that is Animalia. Animalia, where multicellular animals are included. Now, from the four kingdom classification to five kingdom classification, and then we talk about that he basically classified organisms on the basis of four factors. What are these four factors? First is complexity of cell structure. Complexity of cell structure. Number 2, body organization. Body organization. Number 3, mode of source of nutrition. Mode and source of nutrition. And the fourth one goes to phylogenetic relationship. Okay, so this is how Whittaker's basis of classification to five kingdoms. Then we say when we start dividing these organisms into various kingdoms like Monera, Protista, fungi, what are the basic salient features in each kingdom? For that, we are going to do that basically all the monerans in kingdom Monera, these organisms are the smallest, the simplest and most plentiful prokaryotes. Smallest, simplest. Okay, they are unicellular mainly. We know they are unicellular. They do not have definite nucleus. No definite nucleus. And the genetic material is circular, double-stranded helical DNA. Now, basically, they do not have well-developed organelles also. Organelles are absent, like mitochondria, plastids, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, centrosomes. These all are lacking. Only the ribosomes are present. Okay, so ribosomes are present. Then cell wall is generally present. Cell wall, yes, it's there. Clear? Then we talk about what do they eat? Their nutrition. Their nutrition can be autotrophic, that is they can synthesize their own food, or it can be heterotrophic, that means they are dependent on environment, they get their nutrition from the environment. Then further moving to the next classification point, that is the Protista. In Protista, we say these are unicellular eukaryotes, means they have nucleus which is developed enough. They are aquatic, mainly live in water. Cell structure is typically eukaryotic, means they have their genetic material in the linear double-stranded DNA form, and it has nucleus which has a genetic material. Then we say the cytoplasm contains membrane-bound organelles are present. Membrane-bound organelles are present. Then we say their mode of nutrition can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. Okay, they are sometimes motile protists. They are motile and they move from one place to another. How? With the help of cilia. Cilia are hair-like projections. Flagella, it's a long whip-like, and pseudopodia, false feet. They move from one place to another. These are protistians. Then we see, then when they are further little developed, then they belong to the kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi where the organisms, they form a thallus-like structure. Thallus is something which is not differentiated into root, stem and leaves. They form a thallus-like structure. It may be that they are built up of single cell or cells, okay, which do not possess definite cell wall and true nucleus. They lack chlorophyll and vascular tissues as well. So basically what do they have? They have first of all thalloid body. They are unicellular, could be multicellular when they form aggregates. Then they are filamentous. These filaments, these are known as hyphae. What do we call them? Hyphae. Okay, this hypha and the cluster of these hyphae, it is known as mycelium. When these are in cluster, we call it mycelium. Then, what does fungus do? It lacks chlorophyll. First, its general features, it lacks chlorophyll. Okay, but they possess a cell wall, and the cell wall, it is made up of which contains cellulose also. It contains a chitin material also. What is chitin? Chitin is a tough complex sugar. That is also a material which the cells are made up of. Okay, sometimes both are there, sometimes only one is there. And fungi, when they lack chlorophyll, they are non-green, they are unable to synthesize their food by the process of photosynthesis. Then what do we call them? What is their mode of nutrition? They are heterotrophic and obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter. So their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. So we call them saprophytes, as they obtain their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. And how do they store their food? Their reserve food material is stored in the form of glycogen or oil globules. Now they have two distinct phases. They have vegetative phase, reproductive phase. That is something um, a little in detail, but basically what do? They reproduce through spores. That is what you have to keep in mind. Reproduction is basically through spores. Fungi reproduces by the formation of spores. Okay, and then we move to kingdom Plantae. But before we move to kingdom Plantae, I need to tell you what are lichens. You must have heard a word lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic association, a permanent association. Symbiotic association, mutual understanding. Symbiotic means mutually dependent on each other. This association, which is a permanent association, why do we call so? Because this is an association of a fungus and an alga. Now the fungal partner here is known as mycobiont. And algal component is known as phycobiont. What does mycobiont and this phycobiont do? They live in symbiotic association, and the phycobiont will prepare the food and the mycobiont will provide shelter. And the growth of lichen is very slow. They form colored patches on the back of trees, barren rocks, wet walls, everywhere. Right? So these are lichens. Then we move to Plantae. Plantae, as we all know, they are multicellular. These are multicellular, eukaryotic, autotrophic, and use chlorophyll.